Hi guys. So what I'm working on right now is I'm working on a mattress stitch, which is basically an invisible stitch, and I'm seaming up the sides of this shrug that I was working on, or that I am working on. So I just kind of want to show you how I do it. So I've already done from here to here, right? So this is where I came out on that side, right? On this side. So I'm going to come into this side. You want to make sure that your stitches are lined up. It looks like this is where I came out of, which is hard to tell once you pull it tight, you know. But if you separate it, you can see that this is the back loop that it's pulling. So I'm going to go right back into that back loop. I'm going to go down. My needle's pointed down, and then I'm going to point my needle up, and I'm going to pick up this back loop of the next stitch, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and just pull through. And so that was the first stitch of that cluster, and I went into the first stitch of this cluster, and I'm coming out the second, right? Now I'm going to work on the other side. I'm going into the first stitch of that cluster, into the down, this the back loop, right? And then I'm going to come up, picking up the back loop of the next stitch, and I'm going to pull through. And then here we go. I haven't pulled it tight, right? I only pull it tight every so often. You don't want to go too long because then your yarn might break. But here's where we came out of before. I'm going to go right back into there, the back loop, and come up with the back loop on this side. And then I'm going to go back and do the same thing on the other side. Okay? Down, and then up. And just make sure that you're not splitting your yarn, because that'll make it difficult to pull when you get ready to tighten your stitch up. So I'm going to go down and then back up. And so the side of my work that you're looking at right now, this is both the outside. This is how I'm going to wear it. This is going to be on the outside. Okay, and if we look on the inside, that's what the inside looks like. We look at the outside, and that's what the outside looks like. Okay, so I came out on this side. So I'm going back in right here and back out. I'm gonna pick up that back loop, and trying not to go fast because I don't want to split my yarn. Because then if you just have to take your work apart, or you know, it snags and your yarn breaks, it's just, I'd rather just take it slow, make sure I'm not catching anything, and that way I don't have to redo my work. So we just keep doing this, you know, and like I said, I don't go too far because I don't want to break it. But I do a few stitches so that I don't have to worry about finding my place. So down and up. That one's snagged. So because I don't want to deal with that, I'm just going to pull it out. I'm not even going to keep going, right? Because that's just going to make my life harder in a little bit. So I just go back down, make sure I'm not snagging my yarn. So down, up, taking the back loop only. And we just go back and forth, just like this. I'm going to do this one, and then I'm going to go ahead. Well, I'll do the next one because I like picking up from this side. And then we're going to cinch it. So back in, back loop, go into the next stitch. So we're going in, right? And we're coming up the back loop of the next stitch. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull there, because that's about 2 inches or so. And then I'll have about another 2 inches to do. So again, I'm gonna hold it right here, which was where I was at, where it's closed. I'm gonna my working yarn, and look at this beauty. And sometimes it doesn't. Most of the time it just pulls nicely, but sometimes it catches a little bit, and that's okay. So it's caught right there, right? So I'm not gonna force it. So I'm just gonna come in here, and I'm just gonna kind of massage my stitches a little bit. You know, I'm gonna hold it back, and then I'm gonna pull, and they, you know, it just works itself out, and bam, there we go. Beautiful, right? And so I stopped on that side, right? I'm coming out of that side, and so I'm gonna come back in this side. And then I always kind of like pull just a little so I can see. So that was the back loop that I picked up, right? So that's right back where I want to go into, and then come out the other. And I have a big long piece of yarn. That's just what I normally do, like this one. It may be too long, but I'd rather have longer than not enough. So like right here, I couldn't see exactly where I'm coming out, so I'm not rushing. I'm just looking again. Okay, this is where I came out, and then here's the back loop of the next one. So the piece of yarn that I cut, I only had this much to go, and that's I'm not sure exactly how long that is. It's about a foot, but I actually did from my fingertip to my shoulder 3 times. And so that's what I'm working with. And like I said, it's probably too long, but I'd rather it be too long than not long enough. Because could you imagine having to do this and then needing to add yarn? Yeah, not good, right? And normally, because you don't have all the yarn at hand, because you have it going back and forth, so it's taking up, except with, in this case, I've been pulling quite frequently, so it's going a little bit better. So the other side, I might only do 2 arm lengths. So this is it, guys. And then I'm going to come into that middle chain of my cluster. So I'm going to go back in. And then I'm looking at my armhole. So I'm gonna stop right here because I want to try this on, because I'm thinking maybe I can go up to here and leave my armhole like this, but I'm gonna try this on real quick and just make sure. I'm gonna do 2 more. I was gonna stop there, but I'm not, because I need to make the armhole smaller. I mean, you're not here for that. You're here for the actual mattress stitch. But so anyway, guys, we just keep doing that till we get to where we're going. And then you're going to go ahead, and if you don't knot your work, you're going to have to go ahead and you're going to have to secure it because you don't want it to come apart. So I do knot my work. So at the end, I am going to bring these, I'm going to take my needle on the inside, I'm going to go ahead and knot it, and then I'm going to go ahead and weave in my yarn. I'm going to just, I'm just marking where I'm stopping. 1, 2. And just remember, just don't split your yarn. Okay, so I came out of there. I'm going back in here, out the other one, and we're coming to the end now. Oh, pretty close. So down and up. We're still doing the same exact thing. Down. That stitch marker doesn't want to hold. And so this is the first stitch of the next cluster right there. So that's where I want to stop. I don't want to go in there. And so I'm going to go out in here, out there. And of course, that's the first stitch. So I don't want to do that. So that's the last stitch I'm working on right there, right? Oh, I went a little far right there. That might be a little difficult to pull, but we're going to go with it, right? And so I start pulling a little bit at a time because I want to make sure I don't break it. And if it gets a little bit hard, I just smooth it out some, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull. And so it's not pulling anymore. I look, and it looks like it's done, right? I'm going to go ahead and just kind of smooth it a little bit more because I want to make sure. Get my yarn again. Okay, and see, it did pull because this looked a little loose, so it is pulling more. But yeah, I shouldn't have went that far. But then I don't want it cinched up, right? So I come back out and I just kind of just pull it out so that it's not cinched, right? So there's our mattress stitch, a work of beauty. And then this is where we finished, right? So this is where we came back up at. We went in and up. And so I'm gonna do, this is how I started. I know y'all didn't start with me, but to lock this stitch in place, I'm just gonna go right back in, and then out again. So initially we went in this one and out that one. If we were going further, we wouldn't be going in this, we would be going in this one, right? If we were gonna continue, we would be going in here and coming up out here, but we're not continuing. We're just trying to lock this in place, right? So I'm gonna go ahead, make sure that that's pulled nice and tight. And you can see it just cinched up right there. That's not what I want. That's not what I want to do. So what I want to do is I'm just going to go right back in the previous one and come back out. Trying to get the yarn out of the way so y'all can see. So I'm going to go in here and out here without splitting the yarn. And I'm going to pull this. And that should lock our work, our stitch in there. And because I don't like the little gap that it leaves, I'm going to go ahead and just pick back up on this side. Come back up there. And that way I don't have any kind of splitting. So, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring my yarn on the inside. And I'm just going to weave it. I'm just going to weave it in. I did cinch those two together. I did tie those two together. So there is a tiny little knot right there. And then I'm just going to weave. And even though that there's that tiny little knot, I still like to go in and weave in my different directions. Just because I don't want to take any chances of my work coming apart. And I like to have my work for years and years and years. So I make sure that I go in the different directions and I do it several times. And it may not be absolutely necessary, but that's just the way I do it. You do it however you do it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and show you what that other side looks like now. So I did remember from my fingertips to my shoulder, I did it 3 times and I have almost like 2 lengths. But if I would have only done 1, it wouldn't have been enough. 2 might have been enough, but 1 most likely would not have been. So there's my armhole, but there is the beauty, right? I'm like trying to find it, like where is it? So there it is. It's very pretty, right? All right, guys, well, I hope that you have learned something. I hope that you have enjoyed this. Please go ahead and hit the like button and the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you're notified when I put out other videos, new videos. I hope that each one of you has a wonderful and blessed day till I see you again.